Hello, welcome to this very special edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace reporting live here in Times Square, here in New York City. On November 2nd, 2021 at Dizzy's, at Jazz at Lincoln Center, the jazz community, family, and friends came out to support the 95th birthday of a.k.a. jazz master and jazz legend, Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson. In a career spanning some 7 decades, Sweet Papa Lou at 95 has outlived a lot of his contemporaries. In fact, he was part of one of the great musicians that made up Blue Note Records, and he recorded with the cadre of artists ranging from the great Art Blakey to Clifford Brown to Jimmy Smith, just to name an endless few. Now, as you might know, he was influenced by Charlie Parker, but what made him so very unique was the fact that he took jazz as well as the blues and he meshed it. And as the 60s turned into the 70s, soul jazz was right on the cusp of being another genre of Black American music by way of jazz and the blues. Tonight, you're going to see highlights of the 95th birthday celebration at Dizzy's at Jazz at Lincoln Center. And you're going to hear a lot of comments with the musicians I've interviewed, as well as I sat down with Sweet Papa Lou himself to talk about and reflect on his career, as well as reflect on a dear friend that just passed away about 3 weeks ago, the legendary Dr. Lonnie Smith. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of the 95th birthday celebration of a.k.a. jazz master and jazz legend, Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson, live at Dizzy's at Jazz at Lincoln Center on the Pace Report here in New York City. relationship with Lou goes back some 20, 25 years. Tell everybody what he means to you.
Yes, I met him way back. I joined the band in 2006, and my first gig with him at the Jazzmobile in Roosevelt Island. Yeah, and since then, my life totally changed. And he took me to all over the world, so many countries, and I had a great experience. And Lou is always strong. He knows how to take care of himself, and he loves eating steak from his breakfast. And I was so surprised for the beginning. But then he loves Big Mac. So I don't remember how many times we ate Big Mac. And audience loved him. Just see him and his whiskey drinking woman. Everybody is smiling and so excited to see him. Yeah, and tonight, oh my God. I wasn't expected. He is talking to the audience, then sing. I said, wow, this was a special night.
My name is Jeff Fuller. I played upright bass, acoustic bass with Lou Donaldson during it's over the course of 15 years really, but mostly from about 1979 till about 1989, 1991. But then we continued to play occasional gigs thereafter. So Lou Donaldson was first of all and foremost for me a great teacher. He taught me how jazz should be played and how jazz should be presented to an audience with a mixture of highly skilled musicianship and a mixture of down-home personality and humor. We toured all throughout Europe, virtually every country in Europe during those years, and we also toured throughout the United States. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go to Japan with him. I would have loved to have done that because he was, of course, a major hero in Japan. But Lou, to me, besides being a great saxophonist, was a great teacher and a great human being. He was very, very together. He was tough on the bandstand with our musicianship and our approach to the music, very serious, but he was very, very loose as a teacher. He taught indirectly. So therefore, he was also a great golfer, as many people might know. And one of my most enjoyable days with Lou was on the golf course, where I was a very poor amateur golfer and Lou was nearly a professional golfer. And he taught me a lot about the game of golf in that afternoon. So I will cherish all the time I spent together with Lou. I will cherish his life, his family's life. May was a wonderful woman. And I can't believe he's 95 years old. He's a force of nature. He keeps going, and many more happy anniversaries for Lou Donaldson.
What does Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson mean to you?
Well, he is. I love his music. I love his playing. I love his band. I love his friendship. It's been so nice. We talk about a lot of things. He's supportive. I feel like he understands me, jazz musician to jazz musician, and he's the best.
Tell me the first time you met Papa Lou Donaldson.
I met Lou for the first time on the jazz cruise almost 20 years ago. The band was Lonnie Smith and Fuku and Randy Johnston, and it was so incredible. I was blown away, and I started going to see him. Then when I moved to New York later that year, I saw him at Alice Tully Hall, Carnegie Hall, at Birdland, the Village Vanguard, and I had no gigs, so I would go to every show every night. And he sort of noticed me, and eventually I worked up the nerve to ask him about Charlie Parker, and then we became friends.
As an alto player, you can't go any higher than that. From sound to groove to honesty and soul, man, he's everything. He's the best there is.
He's 95 years old today, and this guy has outlived a lot of his contemporaries. Why do you think he's had such a fruitful life?
I want to say clean living. Isn't it something like clean living? I don't know. I hope it's not that, because I'd like to live that old too, and I'm not doing that.
Sweet Papa Lou, there's nobody like you at 95 years old. We're so happy to be able to celebrate you here at Dizzy's in New York. And it was a great night, but there was no chitlins with hot sauce. So that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Love you, Papa Lou.
At 95 years young, this man's been blessed to give the world the gift of music and just happiness. And what do you feel contributed to 95 years?
Well, like Papa Lou said, he didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't fool around with no woman. So I think that maybe has something to do with it. I don't think I'll make it even maybe to half of 95, but I'll do my best shot. But there's and Lou, when he picks up a horn, sounds exactly like he did so many years ago. The tone, the sound, it's all still there, and just amazing. Nobody like Lou, man.
how important Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson is to you.
He was one of the guys I grew up listening to, playing along with his records. And then when I got a chance to meet him and actually get to play and sit in with him, man, that was a thrill. That was a thrill I'll never forget. I wouldn't have missed this night for anything. Lou is just the greatest. Lou Donaldson is jazz. You know what I mean? He is jazz. He doesn't play jazz. He is jazz. Nothing else you can say.
Jerry, one of the most important bylines to his career was the blues. And
it was in everything. It was in everything. Yeah, it was everything. He played the blues like Charlie Parker. You could hear Charlie Parker's influence in his playing, of course, but he had his own style. And those Clifford Brown records and Art Blakey, and those were the first. My introduction to Lou Donaldson were those Birdland records. Horace, Art Blakey, Curly Russell, Lou, and Clifford Brown. Those were the classics. That's how I learned how to play, as many of us did.
Larry Ridley.
All right.
Define Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson.
Oh, Papa Lou, North Carolina Flash. Is that enough?
You must have worked with him.
Oh, I worked with him and recorded with him too. Yeah.
What does he mean to you as a musician and a friend?
Well, he's one of the all-time great stylists on the alto saxophone. We're on the bandstand many times on recordings too.
The man has been blessed with 95 years. Why do you think that he's attributed to a long life and continues to live like he's a teenager?
Because he's always been crazy. He don't know how to act, so that's the reason why he's still around. We had been a good time on the bandstand and off the bandstand, and in the recording studio. So Larry Ridley can say, hey, thanks to my pal Louis Donaldson from the North Carolina Flash. All right.
Clifford Brown and Sweet Lou on Jazz Messengers with Art Blakey, Forrest Silver, 1952-53, playing, There'll Never Be Another You, whatever that tune is called, the blues, can't remember the names of all these tunes. I had a couple drinks, but anyways, then You Go to My Head, Hymn of the Orient, all those tunes, and then meeting Lou in New York and talking to him and telling me about Blue Mitchell and Clifford. It's a great experience, man. That's what life's about. People like Lou Donaldson. That's all I can say. I'm happy to be here tonight, too.
The Lord has blessed him with 95 years, but why do you think that he is still here doing what he's supposed to do?
Well, he's got some good genes, that's for sure. And he's an angel, man. He's a disciple of Bird, so he's our angel, So he's still here prophesizing, and that's a beautiful thing.
What does Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson mean to you guys?
Man, to me, it's the roots, the true roots of this music. I mean, he was there from pretty much the beginning. He's seen it all. He's heard it all. And, it's just, for me, the admiration that I have from him as a musician, as a person, it's just, I think it's hard to put into words. I owe a lot to him personally for the education I've received from him. So, if anything, it's a gratitude for me to be able to say that I've known him and have had the opportunity to play with him, for sure.
Yeah, well, he said it, man. It's the truth. With all this different types of music, and you're not sure of yourself what you want to do, when you go in to see guys like Lou Donaldson and Cedar Walton and George Coleman, to me, that's where my heart led me. Those are the three schools that I wanted to be with, man. George, Cedar, and then Lou. And then eventually when Fuku couldn't make it, I was able to play with him. He told me to work out my quarter notes with the great John Orr on bass. And then he brought me to Chicago where I met the mother of my 3 children. So I have 3 kids because of Lou Donaldson.
Last question. 95 years young. Why do you think he's been blessed with a life this long?
Sexual chocolate?
It's a hard one to answer. I mean, he's taking care of himself. You know, he's. I think the music, you know, has kept him going too. You know, that love of the music. You know, now it's because I know he's always checking things out, even though he's not playing very much. So I think that's music equals life in a lot of ways. So
Definitely. He lived a clean life. He wasn't messing around with those other cats. And that saved his life, of course, man. He made it through all that stuff, and people plays music that he loves, and people love him.
What does Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson mean to you?
Oh man, he's just been a gatekeeper for so many years, an elder of this music. I first came into to recognize him as a player on the Art Blakey stuff with Clifford Brown. Hilarious, purveyor of blues. So when I heard this is 95th, just had to come up to New York to show some love.
You know, Nicholas, this man has 95 glorious years to his life. What attributes that? I mean, just the love and respect out of this whole room and the music world. I mean, you don't get too many years of 95.
Yeah, well, I think it goes to what he was saying. He didn't get high and succumb to a lot of the proclivities a lot of other cats did, which attests for his longevity.
Hey, we gonna build that dream house of love, love, yeah. Into the sun of the day, baby, take me home to the moon at night. You know I wanna live in a lovely way, living off love, little moonlight, just you and I. Hey, baby, ever in the day. I say love will not die, 'cause I'm gonna keep it that way. Up among stars will light, harmony light, lovely too. East of the sun and west of the moon, moonbeam. Whoa, east of the sun, we gonna have a whole lot of fun. Take me east of the sun, take me west of that moon. Hey, east, I know, west, south, east and north and west and south. East of the sun, and west of that moon.
What does Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson mean to you?
He means a lot to me. He goes way back. He's the one that helped me get to where I am now with all the great singers, Etta Jones, Irene Reed, Zella Griffin, you name it. And Papa Lou was there. So he always told me, and him and Lonnie, Dr. Lonnie Smith, they brought me, whenever I went to see them, they brought me on stage. That's what I like about them, because they helped me. And I love Papa.
Lou has been blessed with 95 wonderful years.
Yes, he has.
What do you think is attributed to his longevity and the respect over these years?
His goodness, kindness, and his wealth. That's what contributed to his longevity. He means a lot. He says what he means, and he means what he says.
My name is Jesse Cheese Hameen II. I'm a drummer. I like to work with Lou. And not only that, but Lou has been an instrumental force in my life, a good role model. I used to bring my wife and children to Lou's house to visit him in May, and my youngest son, Najee, still keeps in touch with Lou and his granddaughter, Tracy, and I still keep in touch with Lou, so I learned a lot from Lou. I'm still learning from Lou. He's a big force in my life. I love Lou. Lou, I love you, and I really appreciate you.
Lou turns 95 and
95 years old. I can't believe it.
This man has outlived a lot of his contemporaries. Why do you think God has allowed him to have a beautiful and prosperous life like this?
Because one of the things I think is Lou lived clean. I've never seen him do anything dirty. You know, that's why I brought my wife and children to him. He's like a mentor, and to show my children this is an example of how you can live as a musician. You can have a wife and have children. I've never seen Lou messing around with women and all that. He was just a hard worker and a decent human being, and he was clean. So Lou said a lot of things that doors open to other people didn't open to him because he didn't use drugs. And because Lou was one of the reasons why I never used drugs, because I didn't want to embarrass my family, my parents, the people in my hometown, New Haven, Connecticut, that supported me. You know, so he treated people right, and he lived clean. That's important. And he was a great musician, and he helped us. He was hard on us, but tough love. But on the bandstand, learn he taught us how to play this music, you know, and how to be decent human beings and become good musicians. So I think that's his character and his attitude is what helped him, why God blessed him to live to be the age that he is.
Take your time. George, tell me the first time you met Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson.
It was probably back in the 60s when I heard him with Clifford Brown.
What was it about Lou Donaldson's sound that was different than his contemporaries, the other saxophonists of his generation?
Well, he had a good mouthpiece, first of all. He had a good mouthpiece, but he was great himself because he had a great what they call embouchure. It's the formation of your mouth on the mouthpiece, and that's what made it sound so unique.
George, the good Lord has blessed Papa Lou Donaldson with 95 years.
That's right.
Why do you think he's been able to live so long and outlive his contemporaries?
Well, just like what he said, he didn't indulge in any of the, that was one of the reasons. But you know, longevity is a special thing. And it's God-given to a few of us. Some live a long time and some don't. But they're all great. They're all great musicians. And as long as they stay here and produce and make people happy, they make people happy. So for him being around this long is just a unique thing. It's a unique phenomenon. You know, because as they say, musicians don't live that long. A lot of them don't. But a lot of them do live a long time. And he's one of them.
95 years young, and this man is an embodiment of what the blues and jazz is all about. What have you learned from him over these years?
Oh man, I don't know, some good things, some bad things. But mainly funny things. And just, you know, what a soulful dude is all about, man. because that's real, a real soulful guy, and class act. As far as musician goes, you don't get better than that. So I love Lou. I love him to death, man. And he's my man forever. That's what I learned, how to love Lou Donaldson. Some people say he's a hard man to love. But, you know, he tells the truth. He says what other people think, you know, and he's got the courage to just say it. And so some people are offended by it, but I find him hilarious. And we've had many hearty chuckles together over the years, so I love him.
Mike, you are the burner on that B3, and that's been a part of a lot of his music for about 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
How important is the blues to what he's brought to this whole idiom of jazz?
It's just the baseline, man. It's the foundation of everything he does. You know, he is the blues, Lou Donaldson. And he personifies that, and he shows you like how rich that ground is, man. I'm glad that he's still here because he's the representative of all of that stuff that's left on the earth, because it's starting to get lost. But thank God for Lou Donaldson, because he's a warrior for the blues. That's what he is.
It's very important to me because I came out of high school and started playing with Lou. So he's the introduction to this whole world of jazz music to me, and one of the last alto sax players who can play in that idiom of, you know, of the beboppers, of Charlie Parker and those guys. So I learned all that bebop at a young age thanks to Lou. And most of us here have learned that.
He's what I call grits and gravy music is all about. You know, the blues.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, he's a bebopper to his soul, but he can play some stinky, filthy blues. And my father used to play those records, that record Gravy Train.
Yes.
I played that record over and over again. So that's how I got into him. And the record was it All Day Long. Jimmy Smith. You know, that alto solo, that blues and B flat that he plays in the beginning. Unbelievable, man. So, you know, when you talk about grits and gravy music, that's the cat.
That's perfect example. Grits and gravy. The blues. This is what jazz music is made from.
Okay.
The mother is the gospel and the father is the blues.
Okay.
And if it don't have that in it, then it's some kind of other music.
I mean, bebop, blues, he's fun, he's got so much history, he's one of the greats, comes out of Charlie Parker. He took me to school a few times. He was very kind and would let me sit in on dates, and told me some things that I wouldn't have got from anywhere, from any book, from any school. He's a very gracious guy, and man, at 95, to sing a tune and introduce people and talk a little trash, amazing. I'm gassed to be acquainted with Lou Donaldson. That's the truth.
Professional musician. You can't be. Coach, I'm a country boy from North Carolina. I've been over the world 2 or 3 times. So just about everything I read about in history books. Got to do everything and made a little money on that, on top of it. Very seldom do you see a musician can come out with a little money. But I was very lucky. Because I didn't get high. I didn't drink liquor. Didn't smoke no weed. Didn't fool around with no women. Whiskey drinking woman was a big hit in Afghanistan. Wasn't too hot in the United States. But I'd like to thank Champion for putting on this show with the keyboard. Zaid Husseini. Not Zaid Husseini. Zaid Nasser. All right, behind me, yeah. She's my protege, as you didn't know when he opened up that set. Playing Blues Walk, he played my solo. But it has been a pleasure. No, I can't sing anything. I've got a laryngitis. We need a jazz drummer on the drums. That's a hip-hop drummer back there. Yeah, what a town, isn't that a shame? Joe Farnsworth, give him a big hand. Victor Jones was right. I didn't think he'd live another year. Because he's crazy. We were traveling over in Germany, and we had to go through East Germany on the train. And the guard came through and pointed to Victor and said, no smoking weed, no smoking weed. And the minute he went into the next car, he started smoking weed again. He's a wonderful drummer, and he's still around. Play me a little blues there, baby. This is the key to everything. Where's Big George? Big George still blowing. From Memphis, Tennessee, down on Beale Street. That's where a lot of the jazz came from. Everybody talk about New Orleans, but W.C. Andy was from Memphis, not New Orleans. And his tune is a basic tune everybody got to learn to try to play jazz. It was a dream, baby. Just a dream I had on my mind. Cause I'm alone on the guitar. It was a dream, baby. Just a dream I had on my mind. But when I woke up this morning, not a thing could I find. I dreamt I hit the number. What a big jackpot too. But when I woke up this morning, I didn't know what to do because it was a dream, baby. Just a dream I had on my mind. But when I woke up this morning, not a thing could I find. I dreamt that I got married. That was a big mistake. But I don't need to say that. Because I had a wonderful wife. We were married for 56 years. She passed away about 15 years ago. And I'm very sorry tonight to say that my brother passed away about 4 or 5 months ago. And my best friend passed away a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Thelonious Monk. great organ player. No, they didn't play the music, he taught himself. So when I got a new tune, I just played it. I didn't give him music, anything, because I know he couldn't read it anyway. But he had a good ear and an intelligent guy. And there's nothing up with the blues. If you don't play the blues, you lose. You no doubt about it. One more course of this. What's the drinking woman? She's a whiskey drinking woman. She drinks whiskey all the time. Oh, Rosa, without a chaser. She's a whiskey drinking woman. She drinks whiskey all the time. But I love that woman because she's mine, oh mine, the day that we got married, she was all dressed in white. I told her when the preacher comes, keep that bottle out of sight. But she was a whiskey drinking woman. Had to have that whiskey here all the time. Yes, but I love that woman because she's mine, oh mine, oh mine. She puts whiskey in her cornflakes, puts whiskey in her beer. She can't stand strong perfume, so she puts whiskey behind her ear. She's a whiskey drinking woman. Drinks whiskey all the time. But I love that woman because she's mine, oh mine, oh mine. She puts whiskey in her coffee. She puts whiskey in her tea. She puts whiskey in her whiskey. And she puts the rest of it in me. She's a whiskey drinking woman. Drinks whiskey all the time. But I love that woman because she's mine, oh mine. I got the voice message and knew how to construct myself and got through with big habits. Although during all of my life I suffered with asthma, hay fever, bronchitis. Now I got COPD. And I still got through and made it. Thanks, sir. You saw playing tonight because they overlooked my bad habits and we played some music together. And I'm living in Florida now. New York is not my home anymore. And I have to tell you like they do down south when they're leaving. Bye. I'm gonna see y'all.
Sweet Papa Lou, happy 95th birthday.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back to New York.
Yeah, good.
How How do you like Florida? Is the transition good for you?
Well, it's not necessarily Florida. It's the situation. I've been seeing you living, It's kind of different than anything I'm used to. Because they have too many regulations,
Do you enjoy the retired life?
Not really. Not really. What else can you do?
Tonight, the music world, the jazz community came out to celebrate, praise you, honor you, and looking back at 95 years, what are some of the things that you are most happy about that you've accomplished?
Well, surviving is one. And I usually got to play selective music, music that I wanted to play. I was never uptight about a job or working music, I always had a solution for it.
The Blue Note Records was a very important part of your career, catapulted your career on many, many fronts. And tell my viewers, was it Ike Quebec that introduced you to Alfred Lion?
No, I was working with him then. And he brought Ike Quebec up because he didn't know anything about music. He brought Ike up to listen to me play and decide whether he was and Ike said yes, and then here I am.
Blue Note Records was a cadre of many, many, many performers. I mean, Thelonious Monk, Milt Jackson, Jimmy Smith. What are some of your fondest memories of Blue Note Records?
Well, the finest memories I had was in the mid-50s when I started playing with my piano player, Herman Foster. And he was a demanding piano player. And plus he had a good commercial style. So we had a good run right there.
One of the things that Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson will always be remembered for is two things. One, your affinity for the blues, and two, you have documented and played and recorded with some of the most influential organ players in the history of recorded jazz. We just lost Dr. Lonnie Smith a couple of weeks ago. What's your take and your reflections on Lonnie?
Well, Lonnie was one known as my organ player, was my friend for about 20 years. And Lonnie was a genius. He just took up the instrument and started playing himself. With no instructions, no nothing. So we had a lot of musical talent too. And that talent made him in good shape at all times.
What was your first time seeing Lonnie Smith play?
I saw him play with George Benson. George Benson had a group for Columbia Records. And Lonnie was all in
Alligator Boogaloo was and still remains one of the highest selling and one of the biggest selling Blue Note records ever sold. And when you recorded that record, did you ever in a million years think that would be one of your pivotal high marks of your career?
No. Never anticipated it. We just needed another tune for a date we made. And we made that. And you see what happened.
Your love for organ players, how did that come and evolve?
I didn't love organ players. Around 1958, 59, the induction of the electric piano messed up all piano groups. Because when that came in, every time you went to, they expect you to have your own piano and your own bass player and everything like that. So the money didn't really, it wasn't really enough to exactly suffice for you to get the band. You couldn't make a gig to go rent the piano. Itself would cost almost $1,000 a week. Wow. And I had a lot of gigs where I didn't make but about $500.
So you pretty much, Ray Charles pretty much came in with that electric piano and killed things for everybody.
Well, there was a lot of things I can see and all them, they came in with this stuff too. And when they came, they brought bands and the whole thing like that. So we just set it up, and the club owner didn't have to pay for the piano and everything. And then all the nothing took a group.
That'll do to give for this very special edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at Times Square here in New York City. I'd like to personally congratulate and thank the incomparable Sweet Papa Lou Donaldson. Happy 95th birthday and many more to come, my friend. Also, I'd like to give out some very mad shout outs and thank yous to making all this possible. First and foremost, I want to thank Roland and his staff at Dizzy's for their warm hospitality as well as helping and assisting everybody. You guys went above and beyond. Also, I'd like to personally thank Miss Champion Fulton for getting all the acts together in the midst of the chaos that was going on at the birthday celebration, as well as Akiko Sarunga also for putting together a fantastic house band. As always, people, I can't stress this more than enough. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos here on YouTube and Vimeo, as well as visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.